Welcome to another episode of RELICS Radio. This is a family-friendly show, so the entire family can join us as we talk metal detecting, relic, and treasure hunting. You can also call into the show at 270-495-0315 or join in the chat and post any questions or comments you might have. RELICS Radio is also syndicated on the Cutting Edge Radio Network and is broadcast around the world. You're listening to RELICS Radio of Southern Kentucky. And you are listening to another episode of RELICS Radio. It has been disinfected for your listening safety here tonight. Hope everybody is well. Don't mean to make light of this virus that is going around. That is a pandemic all over the world, and I certainly hope that you and your family are all well. We want to welcome all of our listeners that are coming in on the Spreaker app. Chat has lit up here. Already got several people in. And we also want to welcome all of our syndicated listeners that are tuning in through the Cutting Edge Radio Network, by the way, which comes out of Arizona and goes all over the world. And we know that not everybody can catch the show live, so we want to send out a welcome to all of you that will catch the archive, mainly on Apple Podcasts, but it's also on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and just anywhere that you get your podcast, you're going to get that. I am Diggin with 7, and I am your host, and I'm joined tonight by DK from Adventures in Dirt. What's going on tonight, Ken?
Hey, Loy, it's Thursday. It's time for RELICS Radio. Boy, glad to be here.
Yeah. And I guess everybody is sensing maybe a pattern. You think we ought to go ahead and pull the lid off this thing here?
Yeah, feel free.
As most of you know, Tennessee Jeff has been off of the show for some time, taking care of family obligations that he has. And he needs to do that. I mean, family comes first, and I completely understand that. But this is a very hard job for one person to do, and I've battled back and forth with this as to bringing on someone else. And there were a lot of options out there for people to bring on. I could have brought on another Jeff, could have brought on Jeff Lubert, but me and him do the Monday night show, and it's kind of double duty there. And so Jeff got Ken to work with him whenever I was on vacation. I've always enjoyed listening to Ken. I like him. And so I reached out to Ken, and after I talked to Jeff, and I told him what I was thinking about doing, and he gave me his blessing. He wanted to thank Ken for stepping in and taking his place and filling that gap. Yeah. So I asked
tremendous shoes to fill there. I'm telling you, I've been listening to the show since the beginning, and Jeff's always been there, and I understand his position he's in, but really appreciate him giving me the big thumbs up on it for sure.
Yeah. And then you obviously talked to Jeff Lubert because he would have been an obvious choice. But I think Jeff's position was, I will help you if you need help. But this is a big obligation to set aside 2 nights, and that's what he would be doing. He'd be setting aside 2 nights a week to do this, and that's what I'm doing. And I don't know what kind of I don't know what I ate that made me make that decision to do that. I love both shows. I don't want to give either one of them up, but it is a lot of work, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely. Between the prepping and getting everything straight, and then also just while you're running it throughout the podcast, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's I know the people that listen to the podcast, they just think it's a conversation happening, but behind the scenes, I know there's an awful lot going on. Same with making YouTube videos. The final product is sort of the shiny thing you get to look at, but to get it there, yeah, sometimes it's like pulling teeth and raking leaves, I'll tell you.
Well, the thing that made me go ahead and make the decision was there's been a few problems that have come up, and I'm actually watching, excuse me, I'm actually watching 4 screens, and it is impossible for me to look at the chat because I'm watching levels, I'm running the board, I'm doing everything, make sure that the show is going and all of that. And it's just impossible for me to really concentrate on the chat. And Jeff always did that. Jeff always looked into the chat there and gave a shout out to several of them. And so, why don't you do that? Why don't you just look into the chat and let's name some of the people that are there tonight?
I will, absolutely. Scotty D was on pretty early. I saw him come in. Ohio Relic Hunter, yeah, how you doing? Bill Hayes, always supporting the show, always there in the chat room. Y Golds was here. Welcome. Ambient Girl Relic Hunter Nancy, always great to see you. Elusive was in the chat room here. I'm seeing Nelson Sonder. We even got some of our guests that are popping in on the chat, I saw. Larry Stevens is on again tonight. It was a great call last time, Larry. Excellent. Just welcome everyone. Again, like Loy said, my name is Ken King. A lot of you know me as DK with Adventures in Dirt over at my YouTube channel. You can call me either one. I'll answer to either. Just don't call me late for dinner, right, Loy?
That's right. Yeah, just always call me on time for dinner. Yeah. And we've got another great show lined up tonight. We were talking prior to coming on to the show. This show is pulling down somewhere in the neighborhood, averaging about 1,000 listeners a week, and that is phenomenal. Me and Jeff never imagined that, that this show would do what it did. But that's thanks to all of the people that are in the chat and all the people that are listening wherever you are in the world. It's just, but we've got another good show tonight and should have some good listenership numbers. If you're not listening to it, shame on you, because we got 2 good guys here tonight. Why don't you go ahead and bring them in, Ken?
That's right. I'll second that. You guys make sure you share this out. This is a great program. It's been on for a long time, and Loy's always setting up some really great guests like tonight. Tonight we have a couple of great guests with us. We have Matt Jones. A lot of you know Matt as SwampKritter on YouTube. That's right. And then we also have his partner Thomas Barnes of Evolved Outdoor Expeditions on YouTube. Gentlemen, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome to RELICS Radio.
Thanks for letting us be here.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good to be here.
Well, good. We got you both on. That's awesome. What's happening now? You two are in North Carolina. Is that right?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
How are things going over there in North Carolina these days? Pretty much like the rest of the country, a lot of lockdown and.
Yeah, it hadn't got as bad here as it could be, as some of the other places I've seen. I know some of the northern states it's pretty tight from what I've seen, but here it's you can't buy toilet paper or meat anywhere. All that's sold out everywhere, and but all the restaurants are closed, schools are closed, drive-throughs are open at restaurants, thank goodness. But it's not as bad as some places are, from what I see on the news.
Yeah, I know here in Colorado we got a lot of lockdown too. It's pretty crazy. How about you, Thomas?
Well, man, I've got a cabinet stocked with potted meat and Vienna sausages, so I'll survive.
That's a redneck talking right there. And got a gun.
The bread and the milk.
Yeah, got a gun that you can shoot every turkey and deer that walks by too, ain't you?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hear that they're laxing the laws on the harvesting of game. If you run out of food, we had Trip and Dive on the show back at the first of the month, and they put a video out today where he went to Costco, and what he was going after was toilet paper, and he had a big old bundle of toilet paper. Of course, there was a guy at Costco that was guarding it, and he was only handing out one big package per person. That's all that you could get, you know. And and I said, "Oh, you found the treasure?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "We're thinking about going around and hiding it and have people come and look at it, you know, and try to find it and everything." I said, "Oh, Walmart done beat you to that, you know, because our Walmart has absolutely no toilet paper." So I don't know what the deal is with coronavirus and toilet paper, but I guess it's the same everywhere.
Start saving your corn cobs.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, let's do a little bit of background. Why don't we, to start out with? And, Matt, I know that you were with us back whenever we, talked about dig stock and everything. You were on that show, and, we got a little bit of background on you, but we may have some new people here tonight. So, why don't you just go back through that again and tell us about yourself and how you got into this metal detecting treasure hunting deal.
All right, so I have been in this since, I don't even know, it's 1995, 96, somewhere along in there. And my grandma had a house on her farm that was built sometime before Abraham Lincoln was president, and she wanted to remodel the house, you know, so they could make it livable for, you know, so she could rent it out to people and make it livable for somebody to stay in. And so me and my cousin were over there, my cousin Jessica, when I was like, I don't even know, I might have been 10, 11, something like that. And, you know, my cousin, she was about the same age, maybe a little older. And she was inside and I was outside, and I told my grandma I want to crawl under the house, you know, and just take a look around. I mean, as a boy, you know, it's every little boy's dream to dig buried treasure, you know, so all I could think about was all the coins and whatnot that could have fell through the floorboards, because it had that old pine flooring in it, you know, with an inch gap in it. And so I crawled under the house and I was looking around, you know, and I was coming back out underneath the steps on the main seal under the front of the house. There was a coffee can or a tobacco can shoved up into the main seal under the floorboards. And, you know, I didn't know what it was. So I grabbed it and pulled it out, and I come out. My granddaddy was standing there, and he said, you know, asked me what I had. And I said, well, I don't know. It was under the house, you know. And so he opened it up on the front porch, and there was $1,000 in Confederate money in the can. And,
what?
You know, since that moment, I mean, I was like hooked, you know, digging buried treasure. And I got into metal detecting
wait. You found what?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
$1,000 in Confederate money. There was several denominations of notes in there, and then there was one that was a bond. But the bond was, it looked like somebody had laid a cigar or a cigarette on it, because it was burned almost in half. But we still have those to this day. They're actually framed at my grandma's house in her dining room.
My goodness. Oh my gosh. And how old were you, Matt?
I might have been 10. I mean, I didn't really know what I had, you know, and my granddaddy said, you know, he always told this story about, my great granddaddy, or great granddaddy, might be my great granddaddy, said that his name was Thomas Horn, said that he always carried a gold dollar in his pocket. And after the Civil War was over with, he showed the community how worthless Confederate money was. So he plastered the walls in his house just as in wallpaper in Confederate money, is what he always said, you know, I don't know if that's true or not. You know, that was the story that the family's passed down for years.
Tim Henderson in the chat says, dang, that's a lot of cash back then. That sure was. Oh, my gosh.
And it's a good thing that you were 10 years old, because if you were your age now and knew what value that had, you'd have had a heart attack, wouldn't you?
Well, probably so.
I cannot imagine, do you, Ken, finding that much Confederate money?
Well, that's like, you know, that's like career-ending metal detecting right there. You're just done after that. You just hang your detector up. It's probably never going to get much better than that, and you just carry on to go fishing or something.
I remember whenever Matt Howe found his gold coin, he said on his video, "What am I going to do with the rest of my life?" And I figured that's what Matt Jones said. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? Hey guys, we need to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back. I'm excited to announce that Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors has rejoined RELICS Radio as a sponsor. As a multi-line dealer, Tim carries several brands of detectors and accessories, and he's ready to serve all of your metal detecting needs. I'll give you his contact info in a minute. So why did RELICS Radio go back to Tim Henderson as our dealer sponsor? 3 very important reasons. First, I often hunt with Tim, so I know firsthand that he uses what he sells, and he prides himself with great customer service and support. Second, Tim goes the extra mile in helping the new detectorist determine exactly what they need to get started. He will not try and sell you some high-priced product if that's not what you need. And at the same time, Tim can serve the seasoned detectorist with their upgrades or new product questions. And finally, Tim won't leave you hanging after the sale. He's just a phone call away for any questions or specialized training needs. So, you can call Tim directly at 615-948-4611, or you can email him at tjhenderson@comcast.net. And as Ken said a while ago, Tim is in the chat. Great guy. If you have anything that you need detector-wise, or maybe you just need a new coil, maybe you need a pin pointer, whatever you need, give him a call. There was a couple of people that reached out to me this week, and I sent them over Tim's way because I have faith and confidence that he's going to do the right thing with all of them. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, the Ambient Girl Relic Hunter in the chat there just wanted to ask the question. You were able to keep that, Matt? You were able to keep all that you found?
Yeah, I mean, it was family money, so we kept it. It's in my grandma's dining room. She had it put in a one of those glass cases that the light won't affect it. Forever, stay like that forever. That's I assume when she passes away, that it'll be passed on to me, and then I'll pass it on to my little girl. It's just a family heirloom, that'll be around forever.
Oh, what a start. And how about you, Thomas? How'd you get started in all this metal detecting treasure hunting hobby?
Well, I'll have to go back with me. I'd have to say back when I was really young, about knee-high to a grasshopper, I'd go around with my daddy and looking arrowheads. He was always big into that, and we were kind of fortunate enough to have a Native American village that wasn't too far from our house where I grew up at. So, of course, I could constantly go out there anytime they plowed the fields, and I'd find stuff. And, that was kind of the start of it. I'm kind of an old soul and a body. Because it's just the fact of picking up something that somebody else used that many years ago, just always fascinated me. And, that progressed more into wanting to know how they did it and how they created it. So, of course, I kind of got into learning how to flint knap and do other things. And so I've done that. Did the metal detecting, of course, when I was younger, swung around old, what was the name of the old ones? The bounty hunters, looking for coins out there on the path and stuff around the house, things like that. So, always been looking for something. I'd play in old bottles, old dumps and stuff, and put stuff together. So I've been looking treasure or a treasure hunter pretty much all my life. Anything that's, that I look at it and I see as a value, or something like that, then, I like to pick it up and use it.
I like it back in the day whenever there was no till. Here in Kentucky, yes. They used to plow all those river bottoms, whenever they go to plant corn and everything. And my wife and I, when we'd get off work, we lived across the river, and you had to cross the ferry. And when they'd plow that and then dist it down, well, even before they dist it, you'd want for it to rain on it. Them points would just be laying there, and you learned to see just a piece of them, didn't you, Thomas? And then you knew that you had a point. We took a tobacco stick with us, a pointed tobacco stick, and pry them out of the ground,
Yeah, one of the little tricks things that I've always done, and I think I had said something to Matt with it about what I do is you can take an old broom handle that broke, or like I said, a tobacco stick, and I take and put a nail in it. And what that nail does is that a lot of times you're walking in the fields or you're looking or something, and you might see something down there that looks like your head, and you got to flip it, it's a leaf. But if you got that nail on it and you hear it hit that stone, it kind of, that's a telltale sign, and kind of narrows down on you just flipping over stuff. But yeah, we called them flipping sticks.
Yeah.
I think I just saw somebody just mentioned that up here on the chat.
Yeah.
Ohio Relics.
It was a lot of fun, and you're not going to find any older relics in North America than the Native American points and stuff like that. But here's another thing.
Oh yeah.
When you find a Native American site like that, whenever when the first settlers came in, the colonials, they would take those, because the Indians would go on a hunting circuit, and they'd have those camps. Generally, it's always near good water. It was always on a knoll or a high spot. It was a perfect place for the colonials and the pioneers to build their houses. No wonder they fought with each other. I would too if I come home and somebody had set up housekeeping in my yard, But you can find Native American points, then you can find colonial, and then you find Civil War, because Civil War camps were at some of the same places. Then you find turn of the century, and then everybody got out of those spots and come down to the main highway to build their houses. So it's quite a bit different now, but a good site is always a good site. It's always got good water, and generally it's a high spot. Doesn't that describe most of the places that you guys hunt?
Yeah, that's you're right on with that. In fact, the more that I've metal detected and stuff like that, started getting more into it as far as looking, colonial stuff and Civil War. I've often noticed that wherever you find a good Native American village site or a spot where they were camping, you're gonna find where the settlers came in and they camped there too. And then so on and on. Same thing with I'd say older civilizations, as far as you got thousands and thousands of years that went by. The woodland age, they were there with maybe before after the Clovis people were there. So, they constantly stayed in a lot of the same places. If it looked good to them, you came along later, it looks good to you too. Everybody's staying there.
I'm taking notes. I'll tell you, I'm taking notes because I would love to find some points here in Colorado, and I know they find them, but I just haven't looked into it very much. And boy, I would sure love to learn a lot more about point hunting and getting out and find some arrowheads around here. That's for sure. So Matt, you go out looking for points as well. I was on both your pages earlier, and I saw that you guys do an awful lot of things, more than just metal detecting. It's more of this whole outdoor feel where you guys do some gold prospecting and some adventuring, and just has a real good outdoor feel to it.
Yeah, we try to do a little bit of everything. There's a season for everything. And there's really no need to sit at the house and watch movies or play video games or whatever when there's so much you can do outside. So me and Thomas, we do anything from, metal detecting to snorkeling to diving, bottle hunting, arrowhead hunting, fossil hunting, camping, flint knapping. I mean, we try to do as much and everything as we can outdoors. So we try to get a good feel for it all.
Yeah. I never have done any flint knapping. I have a general idea of how those points were made. But tell us a little bit about that. I'm interested in that.
Well, that's more Thomas. So he, I had never done flint knapping before, and he has got me hooked on something else now. And so my first dozen or so broke on me, but I finally got one napped out that looks kind of like the hook on Captain Hook on the pirate, But he can tell you more about it. He's a lot better than I am at it.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Well, flint knapping, of course, that's the way that the natives is taking two rocks and hitting another rock to make tools, to use those tools to make more tools. But your original was what they call flint. As far as flint knapping, was taking a piece of flint, or they used agate and jasper, different things, and they would take and hit it with a hammer stone or a striking stone, and that would take and reduce material off there to make points and spearheads and and tools. And so you got different, as time has gone by, you have different techniques for flint knapping. You have your basic is what we call abo, which goes back to the Aborigines, and and that's just like I said, pretty much taking and using a hammer stone, another stone to hit, and using antler or bone, things like that to take the material off and get flakes. And then you can get up to a little bit more modern, and people switched over and they started using copper. So some of them use copper boppers, knock stuff off, reduce it, and do the same thing. But that's pretty much what it is. It's just taking and reducing material so that you can make tools out of it and use, whether it's hunting, a knife, skinning, different things like that. So.
And I know.
Have you guys
go ahead, Kim?
Have either one of you ever found any kettle points out there? Any kind of iron points, or while you've been out searching?
I haven't, but I tell you, we just actually got on a site the other day that actually has a good possibility. We actually just talked about kettle points the other day because we were finding, a lot of clay pipe stems and, not very many, brass items like home site related. There's a lot of Indian pottery, and then, we heard a lot of nails and whatnot. So we started thinking, possibly, that might have been like, later Indians with, possibly having some kettle points there. We haven't gone back to, we were going to go back after they, deep plowed it for tobacco, and it rained on it a couple times and see what we could find.
Right. Same with you, Thomas. And no kettle points on your end, or?
I have personally never found any kettle points. Now I've been on Native American sites where I found what I call trade pipes, that were settler pipes, clay, and I found things like that, that I could tell was traded. But as far as finding actual like metal points, but I mean, I have actually seen a Tuscarora bow that a buddy of mine had actually found up in an old tobacco barn. Somebody had found it and left it, and it has the kettle points on it. So, but I've personally just never found any.
And Tim Henderson brings up a good point. I've seen that, Tim, that they also use deer antlers for flint knapping, don't they?
Yes, definitely. And I actually use them myself. I use moose billets. You can use wood billets. That was another, going back to the abo part of it, is that, it's usually more basic stuff that you can get out, from around. So you could pick up a shed, and use it, things like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
And Scotty D said that flint is 7 out of 10 in hardness. It'll cut glass. It'll cut you too. I mean, you need to be careful because these points, even as many 100 years, even thousands of years old, they are still very sharp.
Definitely. Quartz is a good hard one to work. And then around here in North Carolina, we have what they call rhyolite. And rhyolite is what we call man rock, because when you hit it takes a lot out of you. You got to really beat it. Of course, you can get obsidian, which for people that don't know about obsidian, it's a volcanic rock, but it's actually one of the sharpest natural things on this earth. It's so sharp you can pop a flake off it, you can split hair with it. I mean, that's extremely sharp.
Wow. That's awesome. You guys, when's the last time you guys actually got out detecting? Have you gotten out recently? I know that with all the lockdown, people are kind of shutting it down, but were you guys able to get out last weekend or the weekend before?
Yeah, we stayed out all week last week. We had Aquachigger up here, Bo we met. He came up last Monday, I believe it was, and he stayed, we camped overnight and grilled some steaks and looked in an old abandoned gold mine and done a little prospect and then some metal detecting and whatnot. And then this week we've been on remodel mode in his mama's house. So, hopefully after this over with, we'll be back in the woods somewhere.
I seen that you guys.
Warms up.
Yeah, I seen that you guys had Aquachigger on. We had Aquachigger, I think the first year that we had the show here. Great guy, and everybody knows him. He's got a humongous YouTube channel and gets around quite a bit. The first thing that I thought, you guys said, how deep was that well? The water was there. It was a circular well that was full of water. How deep did you say that was?
It's around, I think, Thomas, they stuck some GoPros down in it a couple years ago, and they said it was right around 145 feet. Ain't it right, Thomas?
Yeah, I believe that's what it was. I mean, it went down a long ways. There's some other ones that in the historical records that went even further, but There's some deep ones in there.
I could not believe when you said that. And my first thought was I may put a tank on and just drop down in that hole. Of course, I couldn't go that deep, but just to see what the structure and everything looks like on it. Hey, we got to run another commercial. We'll be right back. You know, T-shirts are a perfect way to get your brand recognized, whether you're talking about a business, a club, a sports team, your YouTube channel, or whatever. But you may have asked, where can I get quality, affordable shirts on demand? Well, I'm glad you asked. RELICS Radio uses DetectTees.com for all of our T-shirts, long sleeve shirts, and hoodies. That's DetectTees.com. Ken and Mark Guthrie make quality shirts that last, they ship quick, and best of all, they're affordable. So if you need customized apparel, then go to DetectTees.com and be sure and tell them that RELICS Radio sent you. And Ken and Mark Guthrie are two great country boys themselves, and they've been with this show just about ever since it started. I don't know, they picked us up probably maybe a month, 2 months into it, and have been great sponsors. If you don't have a RELICS Radio T-shirt or a hoodie, of course, hoodie season's about over with, but the cooling towel season is coming up, and they've got those too. So check them out, DetectTees.com. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I'd never used a cooling towel before until last year. We were out in the middle of this prairie, and this guy's wife came along and handed us all a bunch of cooling towels. And I'm telling you, they really work. So I second that. Make sure you get yourselves a hold of one of those cooling towels over there for sure. Hey guys, let me ask you about this. I was poking around on your sites today. I saw an awful lot of what looked to be shark's teeth. You guys do an awful lot of hunting for teeth out there?
We do. Which Thomas has been in it probably longer than me. But we, during the summertime, so coming up here about the end of April, the metal detecting, it'll be too hot, unless you want to get in the woods and deal with the ticks and all that. So me and him will be, in the water somewhere looking fossils.
Yeah, I saw some real large ones on Thomas's site. Some of those Megalodon teeth, it looked like it. You were holding one in this intro you did. That just looked massive.
Yeah, those are the big ones of Megalodons. Of course, the record size is around 7 inches on them, which it's usually for a shark. It's about 10 foot for every inch. So if you got a 7-inch tooth, that's a 70-foot shark. So, he's pretty big, and the bigger the tooth with the Megalodon, as far as the tooth and the quality of it and everything, the way it looks, the bigger and the more the money they run. But you can also pull a great white that's around 3 inches, and you're talking about some good money too. That's a big great white.
Oh man. How did you go about learning? I've watched some YouTube videos of people finding shark's teeth, and they'll say, "Oh, that's a snaggletooth, and that's this and that's." How did you learn what tooth came from what shark?
Well, I'm not going to say that I'm an expert on it, but I'm pretty much self-educated. I've read some books on them, to see different ones, and I know the most common ones that we find, around here, as far as there's ones called a Henderson, which was a snaggletooth shark, and then there's the lemons and the tigers and makos and the great whites, and then the megs. But you do run across sometimes you find some stuff, and you're not quite sure what it is, and that kind of goes into not quite sure what it is box. And when you get around somebody that's a little bit more knowledgeable, you kind of ask them. But but that's the cool thing about it. I know you find stuff, and you never know what you're going to find. And I've actually got some friends, and one of them a couple of years ago actually found the first rhinoceros tooth that was ever found in North Carolina. And so that was pretty neat.
A rhinoceros tooth.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That's amazing. And like really squared off? Are those teeth really squared off?
Well, I actually thought it was a horse tooth to start with, because it looked similar to a horse tooth, but it did look, it was something about it that was different. And so, they reached out to some people to find out about it. And those people, next thing you know, the Smithsonian Institute had called them and got in touch with them and said, yeah, you got a rhinoceros tooth, and that's the first one been found in North Carolina. So that was, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it always amazes me just how many of them teeth you can come up with. I was watching a video today from Gone Diggin, and hundreds, and it just amazes me how many you can find out there.
Hey, before we go on,
it's not just short.
Go ahead.
It's not just short teeth either. We have there's a wide array here in East North Carolina. So you have a chance to pop up, woolly mammoth teeth, woolly mammoth tusks, walrus tusks, camel teeth, horse teeth. Whale teeth. There's a wide array of stuff here.
Wow. And
mastodon.
The question that I was going to ask, is that all up and down the East Coast? Can you go all up and down the East Coast and find those, or are they more of a centrally located in certain places?
As far as I know, there's a lot of places that you can go fossil. And I know people look for fossils, and in South Carolina, people dive off the coast of Wilmington, what's called the Meg Ledge, and go look for the big Meg teeth. There's the Peace River in Florida that's it's well known for its fossils. There's a creek that's pretty well known in Greenville, North Carolina. It's called Greens Mill Run. Just a quick Google search on that. There's people that come there from all over the world, to go in there and dig shark teeth, and people take their kids in there and whatnot, and it's a good hobby to get into if you've never done it before.
Wow. Hey, what I want to ask you guys about? I know that when we were promoting this show tonight, we had put an image together of y'all, and on that image it said something about Discovery 360, and I wanted to ask you guys about that because I kind of looked around. I couldn't find much info on that. You guys want to talk about what Discovery 360 is?
Yep. So me and Thomas decided that we kind of wanted to do a, YouTube. YouTube is a big platform, but we wanted something a little bigger. So, we kind of put our heads together with the help of Scott McIntyre. He's actually in the chat room right now. He is our videographer, I guess you can say. He pretty much follows us around with a nice fancy camera, and we're going to try and put everything that we do out on TV. So our show will air. We'll premiere on April the 6th at 7 p.m. and then we'll try to get a new episode out either every Monday or every other Monday at 7 p.m. And you can watch it on Gen 7 Outdoors. So Gen 7 is it's kind of like the Pursuit channel, so to say. It's available on Fire Stick, Hulu, Amazon TV, Google TV, Roku. So that's what we're hoping to do. We're hoping to put out a something different that's not your typical metal detecting TV show. We're going to try to incorporate everything in it, try to get kids and more people involved in the outdoors is our main goal.
Sounds interesting. And I tell you what, I knew it would happen someday, but here they've started a television show named after me, Gen 7. And I'm not even going to be on it. That sounds amazing, guys. It really does. How long has that been in the works?
We've talked about it, I guess, for 6-8 months or something like that, and finally put it all into action, and it's been a challenge, at times trying to get everybody's schedule to align. And, the problem with most of these shows is a lot of this stuff is planted, and it's all about the financial dollar, how much something's worth, so we're not nothing that we find is planted, everything is live. And none of our stuff is going to have any kind of numerical value associated with it. It's strictly for learning purposes only is what it's for.
Yeah. Are you guys going to produce that yourself? Are you guys going to produce that yourself, or do you guys have a producer on board?
So we have Scott. Scott has done a lot of he's been a cameraman for news stations and sports channels and several big TV networks, and he's doing all of our editing and our everything for us. So it's he's pretty good at it, and he's been doing it a lot longer than me and Thomas. And he's done stuff that's a lot more professional that me and him can do. So we have all the faith in the world in Scott.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, I've been watching your guys' videos. You guys do have a lot of really great production value in your videos as it is. You know, your intros and such, it really has some high production value to it. I want to take my hats off to you. I pay attention to kind of stuff like that and appreciate it because I know what it goes into to making it. So I wish you guys a ton of luck. That sounds like a great idea, and I look forward to trying to find it out there. April 6th, huh?
Thank you.
Yeah.
April 6th.
Yep, April 6th.
April 6th at 7 p.m. Now, is that Eastern time or Central time or what?
So, well, it's what he told us today. The network guy told us today was that it's 7 p.m. no matter where you're at in the world. So the way that their network works, if somebody on the East Coast gets on at 7, and then somebody in California gets on at 7, their network will air it at the same time to the person in California. So, 7 p.m. wherever you're at, it'll be live and premiered.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. And y'all are going to do a little bit of everything, I suspect, in that. All of the genres that you're in right now. You'll do some bottle digging. You'll do some metal detecting. And what else? What else have you got planned for it?
We've done, so this past weekend, we did some gold prospecting, and, I'll let Thomas talk a little bit about it since he hadn't talked much about the show.
Our goal for doing this was, especially, because Matt came and, kind of asked, about doing this, and we're getting together and do it. And like I said, I just wanted it to be different. I don't like to be put in a box and say, hey, you just do metal detecting or you just do gold prospecting. There's so many things out there that you can find, and there's so many things that can be considered treasures, whether it's out there gem mining, there's people like to do that. If it's gold prospecting, if it's finding old bottles, some people's treasure is to find old wood and reclaim it and repurpose it, So there's lots of things that, we figured that we can go out there, find and show to all of our people that are watching us and following us, and fans and stuff like that, kind of share it with them. And, also knowing what it's like to be, say, maybe in an office setting where you work all week, weekend comes, and, a lot of folks get kind of discouraged and like, well, what can I go do? Because, I've only got the weekend. And, some of these things, that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to teach and educate people and say, hey, there are some things that you can take on a Friday and go do from Friday to Sunday, and have a good time and find some pretty cool stuff. So.
Yeah, so many of those shows you see on different networks, they all have a certain formula. I know you guys have probably noticed it. They're gonna feature a lot of conflict. They're gonna focus on the conflict. They're gonna try to get everyone riled up. They edit it together so it really looks like there's a lot of conflict on the show. So you guys doing something different. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that is. I was on your YouTube channels and it looked like. You guys have done quite a few collaborations in the past. Is that something you guys are thinking about maybe pulling over to the show, of maybe bringing in guest people on your show or doing collaborations for different topics or something like that? Or are you guys just going to be you two and your cameraman?
No, so we actually have had some collaborations already. So, people can expect to see Pete Sorrell, he's in one. They can expect to see Aqua Chigger, he's in another. May possibly this summer we'll have, I won't mention any names, but we'll possibly have some other people, other bigger YouTube stars going to pop in. And, we open the invite, if anybody, has any interest that, would like to do a collaboration on YouTube or whatnot, feel free to reach out to me or Thomas, and we'd be more than happy to, meet you guys somewhere and do a, collaboration with you.
Yeah. I think there'll be a lot of opportunity for other things. Like I said, there may be somebody out there that kind of want to, host something and say, hey, I'd like to have you guys come down with us and, just go have a good time and find some stuff. And, we're going to video it and show people, what it's like. So, that was one thing. Of course, with this virus stuff going on, that has put a little damper in a few plans, but, we can, we'll work around it and figure out something else to do. But, like Matt said, we have this show part that, the show that we're doing. And then, of course, we also have our own YouTube's channels that we do stuff. So, and Matt may do his expertise, is there with metal detecting and, some other things. And then mine's, this way. But when you put us together, we come up with a whole lot of new other things to do. So.
Always something in there. I mean, every time that you get into the treasure whole thing, there's just so many doors that you can go through. Hey guys, one last commercial and then we're free for the rest of the show. If you want to keep up with what's going on in the metal detecting world, then you need to be a subscriber to American Digger magazine. Butch and Anita Holcomb are the publishers of the magazine and have won awards for 3 straight years for being the best digger magazine on the market. American Digger magazine is available in both print and digital formats, so no matter where you live in the world, you can enjoy the latest happenings in the hobby. You can get in touch with American Digger magazine by going to americandigger.com or give them a call at 770-362-8671. And be sure and tell them that you heard it on RELICS Radio. And as most of you know, I am the producer and also a co-host on American Digger Relic Roundup with Butch Holcomb and with Jeff Lubert, both great guys, great show. We're right now highlighting the writers of the magazine, greatest digging magazine in the world. There's no doubt about it. So Absolutely. Come and check out the magazine. Hey guys, before we run out of syndication time here, I want to bring up the dig stock, and Pete Sorrell I know is in the chat, and in a moment we're going to open up the phone lines. And Pete, if you want to, you can call in before we open it up to the general public. But what is the deal with dig stock now? Do you guys know anything about whether it's going to be a go or not?
So, me and Pete have talked, and, we've both agreed that we're going to continue to hold dig stock as of right now. We're hoping that, October is far enough out that the virus that's out there right now will hopefully be long gone, by the time October gets here. We may be the only hunt that actually has one then, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, But we're going to hold off right now. If we get up around, August, September, something like that, and it's still a bad issue, then we'll make a decision on what to do there. But as of right now, we're still on board. We're still for go. Yeah. So nobody needs to worry about is dig stock canceled or is it postponed. As of right now, it is not. It is 100% a go still.
Go ahead and give the dates and the place and all of that stuff as well, because a lot of our listeners may not know any of those details.
Okay, so you guys can go to AdirondackDetecting.com. You can click on dig stock. It's going to be in Chase, New York. Let me look at the date so I don't tell you wrong. It's going to be in Chasey, New York, this winter. We've got a lot of sponsors on board. Garrett's going to be there. Fisher will be there. White's will be there. Note to Macro is going to be there. Pretty much everybody that has anything to do with metal detecting will be, at this event. So it's going to be a good time, in a great event for everybody to come to. The dates are October 10th and 11th of 2020.
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know I was there last year. I was there for last year's event and had an absolute blast. Had a lot of fun, had some really cool finds, and I wish you guys nothing but a ton of luck this year to pull that off. I know it's a lot of work. So to you and Peter, best of luck to you guys.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And Peter, if you're available to call in, why don't you go ahead and call? And we can talk to you for just a minute, and then we'll open the phone lines up to everybody else.
Peter says he talks too much. He's going to let Matt handle it.
Okay.
Go ahead, call on in, Peter.
Okay. Well, that'll work too. Then just do it like that. All right. If that's the deal, then we're going to open the phone lines to anybody that wants to call in and talk to Matt Jones or Thomas Barnes. Our guest here tonight, the number is 270, and just as I say that, Pete's calling in. It's 270-495-0315. And welcome to the show tonight, Pete.
How you guys doing?
We're doing good. They gave you a minute and a half is what they gave you.
Go.
That's impossible.
Well, they both know that's impossible. I talk way more than that. So. So yeah, I think Matt did a pretty good job just kind of explaining where we were at and what we're planning on doing. And everybody's kind of in a standstill at this moment, and a lot of things got canceled. So we're really hoping that we might be the only show in town come October. Which hopefully we'll have a great turnout. I hope things work out for everybody financially and stuff to still be able to make it. But we've got a lot of great things planned. We were supposed to start giving away some these special tickets here soon, but might hold off a little bit on that. But don't worry, that stuff is coming. And like Matt said, we're just going to have a great time out there.
And what the doctors and everything, what they're saying is, what they're hoping is that as summer comes along in this hemisphere here, normally the flu season goes away, and they're hoping that this COVID-19 will be the same way. If that is the case, then we may just be right around the corner for this thing to begin to start to decline. And, if that's the case, well, we're in coming into April and then May. October is a lifetime away from May and April, or April and May. So I feel good. I feel good that you guys probably are going to get this hunt in.
Yeah,
I sure hope so. I hope it goes away.
Yeah, we really had no idea that this. Obviously, nobody had any idea this thing was coming. But I think we. I don't want to say dodged a bullet per se, but we kind of did with our hunt so far out. We got a lot of word out before this all came in. We sold out all of our early bird tickets and stuff, so a lot of people got a great deal on the hunt. And we're still planning until they tell us we can't. We're definitely on board to make this thing work and make it one of the best hunts anybody's ever been to. So,
and just real quick, is it going to be pretty much laid out the same way the last event was, as far as this very similar sort of things going on, similar organization type of thing, as far as but some kind of seated hunt, some kind of a lot of manufacturer involvement, and sort of multiple fields open, that kind of thing? Any large changes from the last time?
Yeah,
I can tell you we're a lot. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so this hunt we have changed a lot, for this hunt. Our seated hunt will be bigger, much more in the ground than the last one. Acreage wise, if right now we have pretty much a guaranteed 1,200 acres, with the possibility of more being open. If we don't have a wet spring and the farmer's able to actually pick the crops on time, then we have the opportunity for there to be 3,000 acres, plus. The problem with it last year was that we didn't give the farmer enough time to pick his crops, and actually a week after everybody was gone, he had already had all the fields harvested. So we've extended that a week, to give him ample time. We've got the special hunt going on to where we're going to give away 30 or 40 tickets for people to come and hunt on a private hunt with their favorite YouTube star, Friday, the pre-hunt meeting date for, 2 or 3 hours. Pete, if there's anything else, to throw in there.
Yeah, I just want to say that this hunt is a lot more organized than last year. We've got a big main tent. Butch Holcomb from American Digger. Well, American Digger is going to be there. I don't know if Butch is going to make it this year, but he'll be under the main tent. One of the big things that we're doing this year that's a little bit different is we're bringing in a relic dealer and a bunch of other, vendors, because a lot of folks said they really wanted to, they came to the event hoping that maybe there'd be things for sale, coils and pinpointers and stuff. And although we had a small selection of that stuff this year, we really opened it up to a lot of different people in the metal detecting and just, outdoor hobby type things are going to be able to, you're going to be able to purchase stuff anyways from those people. Like I said, relic dealer. We've got Anderson shafts coming. We've got Steve Zazulik coming from the Ring Finder. And we got a bunch of great things. And I think this is going to be, when people get there and see the stuff that we've changed, they're certainly going to be surprised and excited for the changes we made.
One of the nice touches you guys did at Pound the Ground was you had that historical society there, and selfishly they came in real handy for me. I found a button, I didn't know what I had. I was able to take it over to them. They were able to identify it right away. So hopefully that they would be making another return trip. That'd be great.
They certainly are. They were very excited about last year, and they didn't make it on Sunday due to the wind, but they lost their tent. But this year we got them under the main tent opposite of Butch or American Digger. So they're ready and raring to go this year too, and excited to be there again.
Now, is American Digger going to host kind of a relic show there as well? I haven't talked to Butch about it. I did know that he said that American Digger was helping to sponsor it and everything. But is it going to be a relic show by, I think it's Graybird Relics is what American Digger's got, right?
No, we're not doing any sort of like relic show. We will have a relic dealer, one of the larger relic dealers in the country will be there, because a lot of folks that'll be coming to the event haven't had the opportunity to like ever get their hands on like Civil War relics and that type of stuff, or see them up close in person.
Right.
So we're giving this kind of as an opportunity for folks to kind of see something, and hold something, or even purchase something that they may never, get in their part of the country. We've got folks coming right now. I can tell you we've got at least 20 different states already signed up. As far away as Washington State right now, I think is the farthest we've got coming. We got a whole contingent coming from there. So.
Well, that's
I'm
great.
looking forward to it myself.
Yeah, it sounds good, and I noticed, and I guess it's not funny, especially for the airlines, but they set a flight from New York to Chicago right now is $39. So if those flights are still like that come October 10th and 11th, I may fly up that way,
I wish they would lower the prices from Denver. I'll tell you, that was one of my biggest expenses coming up there last time, is flying from Denver into one of those local airports. And so any help on that they can give, I'll definitely take advantage of for sure.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. Matt tells me my 1.5 minutes are up, so I think I'll let you guys continue talking to these other fellas here, and you all have a good night.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Pete, for calling in, and best of luck. I hope that the hunt goes on, because I hope the country has recovered by that time. So best of luck with Digstock 2020.
Best of luck, Pete.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. And the phone lines are open to anybody that wants to call in, 270-495-0315. I know that these guys can still talk, and you may have a question that we haven't even thought of that you want to pose to these guys here. And Ken, you may have some more that you want to go to right now. I don't know.
I can talk to these guys all night. What they do is so interesting that I can just soak it up. Real quick, I posted a link to the Digstock 2020 event in the chat room there. So if you want to zoom over there after the stream here, after the podcast, feel free to do that. But so let's just talk about detecting. Let's get to it with both you guys. Favorite kind of detecting you do? Are you like relics? You like coins? You like sieve? And you like in the woods, you like sort of in the rivers, kind of what's your go-to?
I like it all. I like, here in Eastern North Carolina, there's a lot of Civil War activity here, but there's also a lot of colonial history here, so I know a lot of people like to hunt, disc fields or plowed fields, not me, not so much. And that's like one of my biggest, if it's plowed or disc, I don't even step foot in it, just because, in my opinion, you're actually losing depth in one of those fields, because you have to detect through, the 5 or 6 inches of fodder, the loose soil before you get into the hard soil. So I would rather hunt, like a smooth bean field or a smooth, peanut field or something like that, And we're going to do a little water hunting this summer, so we try to do it a little bit of it all.
How about you, Thomas?
Well, a lot of my first, really getting into detecting actually was gold. So, I've really enjoyed metal detecting for like nuggets and things like that. And I've had the opportunity to do it up around in all over Alaska. I spent about a month in Alaska, so traveling and doing some in Nome. But, and then as far as getting back here and doing things, I joke around with Matt all the time. And I say, I like the places that don't have aluminum.
You're right. Yeah, right.
But, you get on those spots, and it's pretty nice, because most of pretty much whatever you're digging, it's some good stuff. But so far, I've been able to find a Spanish $2 real, and that was pretty neat. So that was probably one of my bigger finds so far right now.
Go ahead, Loy.
I was going to ask, what kind of detectors are you guys swinging today?
So we are actually, Discovery 360 is actually sponsored by Note to Macro. So Delic actually reached out to us, and she sponsored us for our TV show. On our YouTube channels, we use the Garrett AT Pro or the Garrett AT Max. I swing the XT ORX every once in a while. But it's as far as I can tell so far, I'm actually really kind of liking the Amphibio. It's actually a really good machine. It takes a little getting used to. It's got a little bit of a learning curve, but so far I like it a lot, and I think Thomas is starting to get like his a little bit more too.
Yeah, I saw today that you were using the Amphibio, and I've never used that machine, but all the reports that I'm getting on it and the Simplex Plus is that they are great machines. Now I do use the Pulse Dive. Delic sent me one of those, and that's what I use whenever I'm dive detecting right now. And I really like it. Note to Micro has really changed the face of metal detectors over the past year or two. They're an up and coming company here in North America. There's no doubt about it.
Yep, no doubt. The Simplex, they came out with the Simplex. And, as far as I'm concerned, there's really not anything on the market that can beat the Simplex for its capabilities and, its price range that it's at.
Yeah.
If you're just getting in the hobby, and you want a good beginner machine that's waterproof, the Simplex is, there's nothing else out. There's no other manufacturer out there that can even touch that price point for what it can do.
No, and it's a good machine. I have used it. It's got the depth and everything. We got another caller. The last four numbers are 8175. Who have we got? Hello, caller.
Did they leave?
I
saw that maybe they dropped.
They did drop. Okay, well, may have been a wrong call. They may.
Hey, Thomas, what about this gold? Looking for gold in Alaska. That's pretty interesting. Like, did you do some dredging up there, or did you just do some nugget shooting?
Actually, I did a little bit of everything, and I'm gonna be actually releasing some of the footage and stuff from doing all that on coming up on my YouTube channel. But yeah, I started pretty much up around about 80 miles north of Fairbanks. Flew in on a remote claim on a bush plane up there, and did a little bit of high banking, metal detecting, dredging. Then worked our way all the way down to Soldotna. Did some metal detecting through the streams and stuff up in the mountains. Found some nuggets, and same thing there. Did some dredging, and then been all the way to Nome and metal detected there. Probably my coolest finds there were I found some gold nuggets off a White Earp skull claim, and that was pretty interesting. But lots and lots of gold. It's all over around those areas. But,
and
it's
yeah. And 8175 is back on the line. Who have we got?
Hello, how you doing?
Doing great. Who have we got?
This is Trent from Florida. I'm a friend of Matt's.
Okay.
Fred, how you doing?
Yeah, Trent. I'm doing good. Just my phone's going crazy. My signal comes in and out and whatnot. So, but I want to ask again about the history of dig stock, that area, the colonial history, the Revolution, or 1812 history and that type of stuff, because I'm very interested. I've got the early bird ticket, and I'm really looking forward to just getting with a good bunch of guys and having a good time.
Hey, good question. What's going to be there, Matt?
So there, again, that's a better answer that's something better for Pete to talk about, because he actually lives there. But I can tell you, what I know. So I know that there, it's a very historic property for, colonial, Revolutionary War, and War of 1812. It's right on Lake Champlain. It's been there, since well before time. And, troops come down from Canada, right on into upstate New York. And there, last year there was a lot of very historic find, stuff that me and you aren't going to find around here, or in Florida for that instance, that you can find up there. I mean, I saw, War of 1812 buttons. I saw early Spanish coins. I saw big, large copper coins. I saw some, shoulder breastplates from the War of 1812. I mean, there was a lot of very old and interesting things that me and you will, never find around here. I know that's
really what it's all about. Yeah.
I know that Samuel Champlain from France, and Samuel Champlain of France in 1609. He explored that area of upstate New York, between upstate New York and Vermont. So the history's there.
Yeah, I think Peter was saying a lot of it colonial, Revolutionary War, colonial stuff from like 1812. Some of it. So.
Yeah, Trent, this is Ken. I went last year, and I actually was able to pull a War of 1812 soldiers U.S. cuff button, pewter button that was just absolutely amazing, in great shape. And it got me doing a lot of research. Well, I did a lot of research before I went too, but I can tell you there's some great stories about that area, about the British coming down, for the Battle of Plattsburgh. So if you want to look up some great information, just look up Battle of Plattsburgh, and it'll give you all kinds of great information about that area. And then also the little town that was right there. I think they call it Sucker Town now. I think it was called something else. It was an old foundry town that's right there near where the headquarters was last year.
Oh, good stuff. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to digging a few holes down there and getting to meet everybody and maybe save some history.
Yeah, man, I hope to see you there.
I'll definitely be there. All right. Enjoy.
We appreciate you calling, Trent.
Good.
Hey, thanks for the call, Trent, and good luck at the Dig Stock 2020. Hope you found some good stuff there.
Absolutely.
Me too. Appreciate y'all.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll kind of throw in too.
Say that again.
This will be. I said, I'll kind of just throw in, this will actually be my first, metal detecting, for his event going to like this. So I'm kind of excited, and, looking forward to meeting lots of people and stuff like that, and getting to see people face to face, and talking and just having a good time.
That is the best thing. There's no doubt about it. We normally go to Diggin in Virginia. Of course, it's canceled this year. But we normally go to that, and then we go to, with American Digger Magazine, we go to the Chattanooga show, which will be in August, and we go to the South Carolina show in January, and that is always what I enjoy, getting to meet the people that you talk to, get to shake hands with them, get to make pictures with different individuals and everything. Just nothing better than the people. That's the greatest thing that you will find at that hunt, is the people that you meet.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that social aspect was just amazing. It was off the charts. I tell you, the people I met there, the people that either I'd been watching them for years on YouTube and finally got a chance to shake their hands and and say hello, and just getting to know people from all. Hey, where are you from? And just from all over. The social aspect of that hunt is, I'm sure it will be duplicated, and I'm sure it'll be just as great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Sure I am.
So tell me about some wow finds. Tell me about some of your guys' finds. Now, we already heard about the Confederate money. That's amazing.
Can't top that one. Nobody can. Nobody listening. Nobody listening to this show tonight can top that. I guarantee you.
Well, I'll tell you.
So
I'll let Matt tell you about it. But I was actually with him and told him he had to go live when he found it. But he's had a really good find. But I'll let you tell him. I'll let him tell you about it.
Oh man, so I've had a kind of a up and down ride, for 20 years. Some years it's great, and some years, not so much. I've actually been, very fortunate on some of the stuff that I found. I've found quite a few, U.S. plates. I've only ever found one Confederate plate, my entire life. I've got a Springfield rifle that I dug back in 2003. And everybody, I dig a lot of shells. I got a lot of artillery. That's one of my favorite things to look for. So I've dug, roughly 213 artillery shells, since I started, which is not as many as some, like Aqua Chiggers that goes out and digs 10 a day, but everybody's not that lucky. And a lot of people always ask me, what's your favorite find? What's your best find? And, I really never had a best find, quote unquote, per se, until about a month ago. We went to a site that I've been hunting for 5 or 6 years, I guess. And, I've hit it, pretty good. But in another part of the farm, there was a hill, up by the river. And actually this is when Pete was down here in North Carolina. And, I just had a hunch, I said, I think there was an old home site over there. All I ever found there was really some furniture tacks. But again, it was 5 or 6 years ago, and I hadn't really been back there since. So, we go out there, it was me, Pete, Scott, and Thomas. And, we're walking up this hill, and everybody's digging furniture tacks and finding clay pipe stems and, some pewter buttons and whatnot. It's late 1600s, early 1700s. And I popped a silver two-door rose cufflink out of the ground, just one side of it. And it was hand-etched two-door rose cufflink. And I was floored. I mean, that was like, just to have something that's that small, that had that much detail that was done by hand, and it being silver, by far was my favorite find. And I was hoping that the other half was there. And Pete was telling me that when one falls off, most of the time the other one is nearby. So there's 4 people pounding this field, and nobody comes up with a cufflink. So Pete goes back to New York. 2 days later, me and Thomas go back out to the site, and I said, I want to go see if we can find that other half of that cufflink. And so we're walking across the field. My first signal was a pewter button. My second signal was the other half of the cufflink. And so now I've got the pair, and now I tell people now that my favorite find, that I've ever found in 20 plus years of doing this are those silver two-door rose cufflinks.
Wow. That is amazing. And amazing that you get to complete the set. I can only imagine the fight that would have ensued if one of the other guys had found the other half of it.
The chances, I told him the chances of him finding that other half like that, was really slim. And then to find it on his second hole, second dig, and I was like, man, you got to go live.
Yeah. Well, how many of you were hunting these? 4, 5 people there?
There was 4 of us.
There's 4 of you. Well, you had a 25% chance that you were going to find it, but
right.
Maybe some things are just meant to be. When you find one half of it,
that's right.
If I'd have been hunting in the field with you and I found the other half, I probably would have given it to you. I don't know. I'd have to look at it and think about it a little bit. But that's amazing. Awesome. It really is.
Do you have that displayed? Like, do you have a nice, do you keep a lot of your finds and kind of display them like a lot of us do?
I do. So I have, we have a room. As soon as you walk in the front of my house, pretty much the whole front end of my house, we have there's like I guess you can call it a bonus room. And then we have our room, where the pool table is. And, both of those rooms are pretty much, floor to ceiling, relics. I mean, I've got them. I guess if anybody ever broke in, then, I'd be in a bad bind. But, everything I've got is out on display, for people to see. And then what I can't fit here is I've got relics on display at the CSS Fram-Noose Museum in Kinston, North Carolina. I've got relics on display at the Petersburg Battlefield Museum. I've got relics in the Kinston Visitor Center. So I've got, a lot of stuff out in the public, for people to see also.
And that's always good. I've donated a lot of stuff. There was a battle, Civil War battle in the town in which I live in. And most of the stuff that I found on that Civil War camp there, I donated or put on loaned to the museum here, and they've got it on display. And that's always good because, not everybody's going to be able to see it in your house, but it's open to the public that way. And it opens up a lot of doors for us whenever we're willing to share those things, right?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, I was. How about like return stories? You guys find many rings, or you guys do much hunting for rings and jewelry and stuff like that, or just not really your forte out that way?
I never really could get into the beach hunting, looking for rings and bracelets and whatnot. It seems like every time that I go out on the beach and look for gold, I find nothing but pull tabs and junk, so it just really isn't my forte. The only thing that I can ever say that I've ever been able to successfully return, I dug back, it might have been 10 years ago. I was hunting a battlefield and I found a sheriff's badge, and I can't remember the name on it. I think it was like L.W. Williams or something like that from Tazewell County. And so I did some research on it and found out that, the guy was a World War II veteran. He had passed away. His wife was still alive. But she was in her 90s, and their daughter wanted the badge back basically. And so I went all the way to Tazewell County. I tried giving it to them and they actually wouldn't take it. Her mama said, I don't want it back. It's very sweet of you. And then her daughter actually said, well, if you're going to keep it, it's going to be on display. We'd rather it go to a good home where people can see it, So I've still got it, but I tried to return it, but they actually didn't want it back. That's the only story I've got there.
Yeah. Let me ask a question, and this goes to both of you, whichever one wants to answer it first. We've all got our white whales. In other words, we've all got those things that we know we should have already found, but we just haven't found them. What is yours?
Go ahead, Thomas.
I'd say for around here in my area, as far as if you look at fossil hunting wise, if it's fossil hunting, I would have to say a walrus tusk. That's one of mine that's kind of been on my list to find, and I know that other people have found them, and I know they're around, and I've just not come across one yet. So that would kind of be one of my big ones. As far as metal detecting, I'd probably have to say, maybe finding like a cannonball or something like that. I haven't found anything like that. So something, to that degree.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
Well, mine is pretty simple, actually. So I have, I've dug quite a few North Carolina sunbursts, and I've dug a couple other North Carolina buttons that were post-war, but I have never dug a North Carolina state seal. I've seen them pulled a foot away from me, but I have never found one, and that is like the only thing. That is my white whale that I apparently will never find.
State seals are my favorite. I'm a button man. I love flat buttons. I love military buttons, and the state seal is, I think, other than the George Washington, of course, is the cream of the crop. Of buttons, and I do have a Kentucky state seal. We went to DIV a couple of years ago and hunted a New York camp, and I really wanted a New York button. And everybody on that hill, and Denny was there, he knows what I'm talking about, everybody there was pulling out New York buttons. And I just thought, it's just a matter of time, I'm going to pull one out. And we left that hunt, and we hunted right to the very last minute that they would allow you. I mean, they were running people off the farm at the time. And I never did dig one out.
I've dug a Georgia, I've dug a New York, I've dug a South Carolina, but I've dug plenty of post-war North Carolinas, but I've never dug a period North Carolina for some reason. They just elude me for some. I can bring both of you guys down here, and I guarantee you dig one, but it would elude me.
And then he said, I've got a couple of them. You can have one, Lloyd. No, I don't want somebody to give me one. I want to dig one. That last day on that New York camp, I kept getting a long tone, and I knew that it was probably a trash pit. And so me and Jeff, that last, I guess after dinner that last day, we just decided we was going to quit detecting, and we were just going to get in there and dig that trash pit out. We found several bullets, and we found some buttons and everything, and I thought I had a New York, but it was an officer's staff button that had the dome on it, and it was just a regular Eagle button. So no chance for me, no luck for me on the New York button.
You'll get it one day.
I'll have to go where they're at. There wasn't any New York troops right here in my area, so I'm going to have to go somewhere else that had them. Maybe down in Middle Tennessee, I might find one hunting with those guys down there.
I think when you turn 152, Lloyd, that's when you're going to find one.
Okay.
When you reach 152, look, you're going to get there.
Lloyd, you never know, man. I mean, actually, Pete sent me a picture last week of a North Carolina tongue that was dug in central New York in the middle of a cornfield. We sent it out to several people, including Gary Williams, and he authenticated that it was real and it wasn't a reproduction. So how a North Carolina tongue, as rare as it is,
right,
got from here slammed to the middle of New York in the middle of a cornfield, who knows? So, the possibility of a New York being around you is not impossible.
No, it's not. But it would have to be somebody that was in the war that brought it back home with them, either as a souvenir, which they did. They brought souvenirs back with them, or something that, that was on their own uniform or something other, which a Confederate tongue, I doubt, was on the uniform of somebody that lived in New York. But probably a souvenir, and...
you might have to go a little deeper in those caves in Kentucky and find you some.
Get deeper in the holler, and find out what is there. What else, Ken?
Well, hey guys, take turns answering this one. If you could go and detect anywhere in the world, do you have sort of a dream trip planned in the back of your mind that, boy, that would sure be something special if I could go detect at this location or that?
Let me think about that and let Thomas answer that one first.
No problem.
I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed Nome, finding, the gold nuggets and stuff there. I thought often about maybe Australia, thought that'd be cool, but then I guess I hear about people finding like these hordes and stuff and finding like all kinds of like Viking era stuff. And I think that would be pretty cool, if you could find something like that. That would be pretty neat.
I would say if I could go anywhere, I would like to go hunt Andersonville Prison. The Confederate camp. Or the Confederate prison. I just think that there would be a soiree of relics, in a Confederate prison, and most of that stuff's either built on top of, or it's either, nationally registered, so that would be my dream, is to go hunt, something like Andersonville Prison.
What you need to do is you need to hook up with Heath Jones and Scott Duncan, because they've hunted around there before. I've talked to them about it. And they've got some private properties around there where they have hunted. But I agree with you. I mean, that would be a spot that should have some goodies in the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be.
I mean, any of them, old Capitol Prison in Washington, or Castle Thunder Prison in Richmond. Any of them really. Any of the prisons.
Yeah,
would be awesome.
Yeah, it would. There's no doubt about it. I tell you what, you guys have been great guests. I've got a lot of links in the description here tonight, folks, where you can get in touch with Matt Jones and watch his stuff. SwampKritter, or Thomas Barnes, Evolved Outdoor Expeditions, and you sure want to watch for Discovery 360. which is going to come up April the 6th at 7 p.m. on my network, Gen 7, and catch all that. But did I miss anything? You guys tell everybody how they can get in contact with you and what have you.
No, I think you covered everything. You guys can find me on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook under SwampKritter. It's spelled with a K, not with a C. So it's Swamp and then Critter, Kritter, all one word. Be sure to sub to the channel and drop me a thumbs up if you like the content. I'm always giving away stuff on my channel. Here eventually I'm going to be giving away a detector. So, be sure to subscribe and check that out.
And what about you, Thomas?
Yeah, mine's pretty much everything is under Evolved Outdoor Expeditions. So if you just Google that, you'll come across the Facebook page, Instagram, my website, and then I've got a YouTube channel up now too, and just starting to put out some content on there. So more stuff will be coming.
Yeah.
But anybody needs to get in touch, to kind of see what all we do.
Let me challenge everybody to go into the description on this show here and at least click on their YouTube channels and subscribe. That means a lot to all of us, is to build up as many subscribers as we can. And go watch them, right, Ken?
Absolutely. It's always great to support local YouTubers. It takes an awful lot to put those videos out there. And the best way you can support them is by clicking on them and watching them and watching a long time and interacting with them. And I'll tell you guys, I have a YouTube channel, and what I'll do for you is as we get closer to that premiere, I'll definitely give you some shouts out on my channel to help get as much audience over your way as possible. I think it's a great idea, and I wish you guys a ton of luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's not that far away.
Yep,
April the 6th. Just a little over a week away, I guess, isn't it? Or is it a week away?
Yep. Yeah. And, meantime, everybody just kind of, stay safe, try to stay healthy, and, we'll get through all this stuff, crazy mess going on. But, hey, you can still go outdoors. You ain't going to catch anything from the trees.
That's right. And we do wish everybody safety and everything. Any final words tonight, Ken?
No, absolutely. I think Tony called me and said, "Hey, you want to go get some exercise this weekend?" I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So everyone be safe out there, be smart, and, I wish everyone well for sure.
Yep. And we do thank everybody for coming in tonight. All of you that were on the chat tonight, there was a lot of people there that were chatting back and forth. And especially thank Matt Jones with as the SwampKritter and Thomas Barnes Evolved Outdoor Expedition. Check those guys out. Be sure and come back and check me and Ken out next week right here on RELICS Radio. And if you're not doing anything on Monday night, come to American Digger Magazine's Relic Roundup at 9 p.m. We'll see you then. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on RELICS Radio. We really do appreciate it. Be sure and join us live every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern here on Spreaker. Or you can catch the archive show at RELICS Radio on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcast, and many other podcast outlets. RELICS Radio is also syndicated on the Cutting Edge Radio Network and is broadcast around the world. Please take a minute and hit the like button and be sure and follow us so that you get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. Be sure and visit Diggin with 7 on YouTube and check out the RELICS Radio Facebook group page. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to relicsradio@outlook.com. We'd love to hear from you. And we hope that you'll join us next Thursday night. Until then, get out there and dig some history.